Cyrano de Bergerac, at your service, the one and only.
My guy.
Man, I mean, this is the father, right? The 2022 version of the father, 2021 version of the father, a movie that's been talked about for awards, but
Mm.
kind of being released very close, wide release, very close to the actual Oscars. And so, a lot of buzz for this. We're finally seeing it. Dave, did Cyrano live up to the hype for you?
Yeah. Like you said, a long time coming, right? I think the key difference, though, is the father came out from Sony Pictures Classics, who are much more experienced in this kind of like late season awards push. United Artists put out Cyrano after delaying it several times. And I think it definitely just kind of missed its mark, missed its timing. You can see that in the box office. I just think this movie should have come out sooner. But there's still a lot of anticipation for it, as you said. And I did enjoy it. I didn't really know too much of like where this one's supposed to go. I mean, there's a lot of like Cyrano de Bergerac beats people are familiar with, whether they know the name or not, just because the original stage adaptation has been done many times, and also it's kind of been done in derivative fashion many times as well. So it's like the core plot mechanics people are pretty familiar with, but this of course is a musical version of it, doing something different, adapting the recent 2018 musical version of Cyrano. So obviously I haven't seen that play. I also haven't seen any of the other past works, so just going in with an open mind, and I did enjoy it. I think the best parts about it would be Dinklage's performance as Cyrano, obviously, but also just really impressive production design. This was shot in Sicily and has a lot of those wow moments going on. But it's probably going to be perhaps a tougher sell to some people because the music here from the National, from the Dessners, not exactly like what you think of Rodgers and Hammerstein show tunes when you think of musical songs. It's much more somber, emotional shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the music was interesting because I felt like it kind of like came and went, and it didn't truly commit to the musical aspect. It kind of
Yeah,
was it picked its
not a lot of
spots, and
choruses. It's like verses and like it's like talking in song almost. It's
yeah,
differently different.
obviously trying to use some of the dialogue from the adaptation in a musical way, which is some of it worked, some of it didn't. I thought like the soldier song,
Yeah,
if we die here, this is
wherever I
heaven.
fall.
Yeah, we're right.
That was
That was a
good.
great one. That was a really really great musical moment. Some of the other stuff not so much, but um, you know, like you, I went in with an open mind. I had heard of the play. I didn't really know much about it, but I hadn't seen any of the adaptations. In reading about it, I do think it's interesting that the choice in this is to have a Peter Dinklage play as a short person rather than a person with a big nose as the
Yeah,
like deformity or whatever makes him unattractive to like a
Roxanne.
typically traditional
Yeah,
person. Um, and I definitely loved Dinklage's performance in this. I thought he was by far the most compelling part. You get a couple other big name people here. Ben Mendelsohn, I thought, uh, just in a very like villainous role, almost like
yeah. He
two
does
one
that in
note.
his sleep at this point.
Yeah, and he was fine. I just didn't really think he like did anything spectacular in this. I didn't really like the performance of Christian, played by Calvin Harrison. Just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, tough from Kelvin Harrison Jr. because he's been getting shots up, man. He's really good actor, but yeah, his presence is it's almost like he has to be uncharismatic for
Mhm.
how the Christian character is written, and in the process, he's just a lot less compelling than
Yeah,
Cyrano is. So
yeah,
yeah, tough stuff there, I think.
definitely some tough stuff. And yeah, I thought Haley Bennett was fine, and so I kind of like was like, there's some stuff here for this to be a movie that I really liked, and I just didn't end up liking it all that much. I don't know what it was. It looked great. I think there's some really like fun moments, but overall, I felt like the movie just kind of like was missing something.
Mm.
I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah.
put my finger on it.
Well, I feel like the best parts about it, it's more about moments. Like I think early on, when you have that theater scene when Cyrano like kicks out the other actor. That
Right.
scene I think is awesome. The crowd is like super energetic. He has that like that fencing duel, really rapid fire dialogue, almost Hamilton esque in its familiarity.
Hmm.
Thought that scene was good. Dinklage is absolutely incredible when he's talking to Roxanne,
Hmm.
thinks she's about to profess her love to him, and realize no, she's about to tell him about Christian.
Yeah.
The run of emotions that you see on Dinklage's face as he's talking to Roxanne there is really good. You have the scene, probably one of the more famous scenes too from this play, this story, the balcony scene
Yep.
where Cyrano tells Christian what to say and then starts speaking himself, basically. Emotional moments there. And then, as we said, the stuff with the soldiers at the very end when they're like fighting the Spanish. Production design's incredible there. They literally made that on a fucking volcano. Like it looks so good. You get that national song, which is like super haunting and dark. I like all that stuff following the Christian death scene. But like those are like what four distinct moments, and everything else is like kind of like weirdly melodramatic, but still kind of inert to me. And I think because I like the production design so much, and Dinklage is so good, I can kind of get over it. But yeah, it's almost like it's like it just has like some beats to it and everything else, and it's kind of like a little more meh on like the side plots with like Ben Mendelsohn as like the villain. It's just not as interesting as anything else going on. So yeah, I think it's definitely like up and down, but like those highs I think are like really well done. And just kind of I think shout out to Joe Wright for like having the vision to like adapt this. He's a really interesting director because he has such amazing highs and such lows as well. His most recent movie was The Woman in the Window, which was really bad. But then to just immediately rush into making Cyrano in the middle of COVID and actually having it, I think, turn out the way it did, it's still kind of impressive to me, even if I don't think the movie is 100% successful.
Yeah. You mentioned Dinklage and those moments that really stood out. I think he is just like the driving force behind this. And, um, I struggle. Like, is this Oscar worthy? Obviously, it wasn't nominated to the performance, but I think it was probably up there, probably a top
Yeah.
10
Hmm.
performance of the year. It was nominated at the Golden Globes for musical,
Yeah.
performance by a male lead in a musical or comedy.
It's
And
his best role post Thrones for sure.
yeah, it also feels like Halle Bennett. I mean, you mentioned Calvin Harris Jr., the guy who will certainly have a successful career, but it feels like Halle Bennett, really good look for her.
Yeah.
Trying to think of like other things. I mean, she's in Hillbilly Elegy, I guess, but
Right.
I think everybody in that
Well,
probably doesn't want to talk about that anymore.
well,
The
that,
Devil All the Time, also.
mhm,
So
right. Yeah.
I like.
She's around for sure. It's actually kind of funny how Cyrano is such a family affair because the 2018 musical version was created by Erica Schmidt, and Erica Schmidt is Dinklage's wife. And Dinklage, of course, performed in that musical alongside Halle Bennett, who is Joe Wright's uh, partner and uh, mother of his child. So it's just kind of funny how like all these connections kind of came to a fore to get this made. But I think what Erica did when she made this version of Cyrano, replacing Cyrano Bergerac's ugliness, like with a big nose, with him being a short person, I think is really smart to improve, I think, the audience reception to the Cyrano character because I think it's a lot easier to sympathize with Cyrano's insecurities because they're a lot more believable that he would be so insecure despite how capable and talented he actually is. I think it's
Sure.
like that kind of messaging I think is really effective. And I think you if you take this and you watch one of the other Cyranos with like Kevin Kline or Christopher Plummer or whatever. I haven't seen these, but like I have to think this just might emotionally hit just a little better than someone who's disappointed because his nose is big. So having Peter Dinklage, a world class performer, bring all that, you know, with him goes a long way too. But I think that was a really important choice, and perhaps a choice that only can be made for if you're getting Dinklage to be
Yeah.
Cyrano after all. So,
I
but
was gonna say if you can get Dinklage to play the role, that's a smart choice. If not, uh, I get it. But man, I don't know. I think I mean, is there any more thoughts for you on this? I kind of left just kind of being like, didn't really impress me much.
I gotta say, we mentioned "Wherever I Fall," which is the Soldiers song at the end. I also I like this something to say, something to say, somewhere to say, something to say reprise, like that second time they sing it, which is in the trailer. Something about that, like when they all sing it and you have like the background like vocals too, and like Christians singing it too. Like I'm not a national guy. I'm not a fan of the Destiny, but like I don't know. Like I actually really enjoy that track.
Yeah, they if you didn't know that they did this soundtrack, you would figure it out pretty quickly because it sounds like the National wrote these songs. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, yeah, I do think that the music had its moments. Like, it kind of like the rest of the movie. Like there were moments when it worked really well. Moments where I just was like, boy, this
Right.
is tough.
Yeah.
It almost like didn't commit enough to everything. I guess
Mhm.
almost kind of like it wasn't quite Shakespeare, wasn't quite a stage adaptation. It was kind of like in the middle of everything. It felt like
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Still worth the watch. I'd say check it out. 2.4 million at the box office. That's so sad. Need to
Yeah.
get people out and see this stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people were talking like they should have at least come out during Valentine's Day weekend,
Yes.
like at the latest, because this was supposed to come out in late January. They kept pushing it back due to Omicron or fear of Spider-Man. But like with adult dramas, as we know, like it's hard to get the people that are going to watch these movies out to the box office right now. So you can't like fuck up your marketing and your release, and they fucked it up.
Yeah, well, they're really gonna fuck it up because this is gonna have no tail, no life, no shelf life because the Batman comes out just next week. So,
That's right.
God.